enthusiasm into work hard. Work hard is boring. You got your suit and tie, you got your vocabulary that's stiff and staid, and it's becoming obsolete, especially in having our children to be able to understand it. They want to be able to relate to a billionaire like Jay-Z.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Gates is not going to be the role model, you know, but Jay-Z stands a better chance. T.I., you know, who, you know, however they relate.
Beyonce.
We're changing the who we look up to, the generations. I'm saying this because I know it and I see it, but I also know it from my experiences in the classroom. And when I see some of my former students like working out at working jobs in Walmart and different places around town, and they see me, I'm like, yo, what's up, Quan? Hey, Mr. Buffalo, how you doing? Whereas if I was good morning, Quan, how are you? How do you do, Mr. Buffalo? I mean, you got this whole cultural, it just goes downhill, you know, and so to be relatable, like that's the word MiMi used, and it was really apropos at this time, you know, and so we have to understand and incorporate that into the children also, and not try to make them be, you know, this other thing that, and if the guy only influenced one kid to wear a suit, that's fine. But if you show where you can, you know, you can put on a sport jacket, a t-shirt, some jeans, you know, you might have your little chain or something like that, and you can still sit down and talk about your business plan and articulate it with the kind of power and authority, they wouldn't care whether you have on a suit and tie or not. And that's where I believe our children are going, in that direction more so than they're looking to put on a suit and tie.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's just the reality of the culture too. But I think that what happens is there is also, and I think Miss MiMi kind of she mentioned it, is how they want things right now. And one of those things that we mentioned before on a previous recording was this idea of click culture. This idea we come up in a time where we have Wikipedia, we got everybody throwing information in together. We got we have anybody that wants to figure something out, you got Google, you know, and anytime you want something at your door, you got Amazon Prime, right? So this is the click culture where we are expecting that things and results are immediate. We want it, we press click, somebody does something somewhere, and we get what we want. And so we don't always intentionally teach, again, Miss MiMi and her genius, being intentional about how we're giving and dishing out to our folks, our learners, exactly what it takes to do what we have to do on a day-to-day basis. And so, you know, it is really important that we're saying, hey, make sure that that you fully understand that this is the step in the goals that you'll have to take to get here. And that's where the other part of, you know, how we've outlined what we think is important comes into play. And that's with that, the discipline, you know, and after accountability rather, and saying, hey, this is what you said that you're going to do. And no, you may not be able to do it in the capacity that you wanted to do it when we set out to start doing this. But what has to happen is that you make sure that you essentially are doing what you said you're going to do. If this is the plan, stick to the plan. That's the point, right? And so, you know, that's what we want to be able to really be letting the folks that go through these kind of programs and trainings know that you should stick to the plan. And you want to stick to the plan because you've actually worked and thought through all those points. And you also know that, some things change and you know how to change the plan, right? But being able to have that level of discipline to say, hey, yes, I am going to commit $40 a month. I might not be able to commit all $40 at the first of the month. I may not be able to do, my $10 a week, but I'm going to make sure that I do my $8 this week. I'm going to do the rest of it the next week. And I'm going to figure out how to make sure I'm sticking and doing what I say I'm going to do for the collective or towards the goal, the collective goal that I have for myself. And that's where, really trying to define ownership comes into play, because it's like, that's what I think is the I don't know, the cornerstone of making any kind of program stick, is that the ones involved have ownership of what's happening and what's going on. And they see that their role is important. And I think when we talk about initially how we were planning to try to build wealth and do this financial literacy program, it was like, hey, how are we crowdfunding? If people are putting their money in it, sometimes they end up, being invested. So it's like, no, you're not paying, you're making an investment. And even how we have those conversations and how we're interacting with them. It said, yes, for the investment of $5, you'll be able to go through these programs and you'll be able to get this kind of access and this level of engagement, and you'll get to meet these kind of people. And really trying to reframe how we're talking in the just the language, right? This is a new language that we're hoping to frame for folks, and that's really what it's all about. And so creating a creative thinking process on how to find money and understanding banking. And so these are the places that we'll go. I've had a really I'm really glad we had a chance to hop on and talk about it. The next step is to figure out when we can really be digging more. So we'll dig more into these things and really be thinking about and fleshing out how this looks for disseminating to the community. Are we doing this? Are we all just figuring out how to use Zoom? Is figuring out Google Sheets going to be something that we need to do? I've done that on one of these before. Is figuring out video editing going to be what we need to do? It's all the things, I'm sure, but when we each figure out where we're supposed to be on this bus during this journey, I think, and give it and kind of use this process to come in here and talk about this financial literacy course to streamline it so that people can kind of see where they fit in easier. I think that's really what a lot of community members are missing. They want to help, they just don't know where they fit in. And so that I'm hoping this will help outline where we need to go in terms of what we need to be learning, right? Because as I was getting to know Miss MiMi, she mentioned, she reminded me that, of my 8th grade band teacher, 7th grade, I guess, band teacher, when he was like, you use what you know to find out what you don't know. And so if that's the case, then I'm going to, utilize the network. I'm going to utilize people that I know are brilliant. I'm going to use the skills that I have and try to break this down in a way that I can tell anybody that wants to, that happens to have a lawn care service, that, we have a team of folks that, or we have a video that I need them to hop on so they can tell me how the intro costs. How much money did it take? When did you get into it? I don't know what it's really, how we should really shape this, but I think the fact that it's all in our hands and it's, that's the creative thinking process, and we all have the ability to shape it for our own respective communities as is. But this is really trying to get the bare bones about how we conduct those courses. And again, Ms. MiMi has already done this kind of thing. And so she has a style that I'm sure she's felt was most appropriate for her group. And then, we'll be leaning on you for tips on how to really pinpoint or how to shape something for a group, or how to recreate something and design something that is actually what's necessary and helps folks understand their purpose, what they stand for, what they're trying to solve, what kind of problems they're trying to solve when they're trying to make those money and generate more ideas. So again, it was a really good time. I do want to give opportunity for folks that want to share anything. If you have, I think you have the opportunity to do any screen shares or video shares or anything like that at this point. If you are interested in sharing, please feel free to do that now. But thanks for hanging out.